All right, let's talk about what's really dividing America. It's a story that goes so much deeper than just political parties. It's really a tale of two tribes, two completely different mindsets, and two profoundly different visions for where this country is headed.
We're all so used to seeing those red and blue maps on election night. But what if that's just scratching the surface? What if the real fault line, the one that truly explains why we're so polarized, isn't about party at all, but something way more fundamental?
Well, the key to unlocking this whole puzzle might be this powerful idea called the anywhere/somewhere schism. It's a framework that says, forget Democrat and Republican for a second. Instead, think of America as being split into two rival tribes, and what defines them is their very different relationship to community, to identity, and to the place they call home.
Okay, so let's actually meet these two Americas. We're going to start with the group that, in a lot of ways, has really come to define the 21st century global economy.
These are the Anywheres, and the name kind of gives it away, right? Their identity isn't tied to a specific hometown. It's portable. It's something they've achieved through a fancy degree, a high-flying career, and a set of global progressive values. For them, home can be almost anywhere in the world.
Think of the Anywhere identity as basically their resume. It's the Ivy League degree, the job in tech or finance, the life in a buzzing superstar city like New York or San Francisco. For them, community isn't really the neighborhood block. It's their global network of colleagues and connections they built up online.
And this isn't just a vibe, you can see it in the numbers. Get this, in the San Francisco metro area, a whopping 40% of adults have a graduate or professional degree. That is more than double the national average. It's just a perfect snapshot of how this highly educated knowledge economy class has all clustered together geographically.
Now, on the other side of this great divide, you'll find the somewheres. And for this group, identity isn't something you achieve, it's something you're given. It's ascribed. It comes from deep roots in a specific place, from your hometown, your church, your family name, and from a really strong traditional attachment to America itself.
Their lives are built around the local. They often work in what you might call the real economy, skilled trades, manufacturing, farming. Their communities are found in small towns, rural areas, and those post-industrial cities of the heartland. For somewheres, things like patriotism and tradition, they're not just abstract ideas. They are the absolute bedrock of who they are.
So there it is, the crucial contrast, right? Anywheres are mobile, with an achieved identity, always looking toward a global future. Somewheres are rooted, with an ascribed identity that really values community and tradition. We're not just talking about different lifestyles here. These are two fundamentally different ways of seeing the world. And believe it or not, you can literally see this divide written on the map of America.
Yeah, this isn't just some abstract theory. You can actually see this divide physically carved onto the American landscape. The economic power, the political power, it's all concentrating in really specific ways.
So, let's start with New York City, the ultimate anywhere hub. The metro area's economy is worth over $2 trillion. Just to put that into perspective, if NYC were its own country, its economy would be bigger than Canada's. That's the sheer, mind-blowing economic force of the anywhere world concentrated in one spot.
But here's the kicker. Within that same state, you find the other America. In 2020, New York City voted for Biden by a 43-point landslide. But you drive just a few hours north to a place like Schuyler County, and Trump won by 35 points. That is a 78-point political chasm inside a single state. It's a perfect map of the anywhere-somewhere divide.
And it's the same story out on the West Coast, in the epicenter of anywhere culture, San Francisco. The median home price there, a cool $1.3 million. And look, that's not just a housing market. That is the direct result of all that immense tech wealth pooling in one place and, in the process, pricing almost everybody else out. Then you have these fascinating hybrid cities, like Dallas-Fort Worth. It's pulling in anywhere talent like a magnet, with its low taxes and booming corporate scene, driving over 50% GDP growth in just a decade. But it's still a stronghold of Texas somewhere culture, creating this really unique tension between pro-business globalism and deep-seated tradition. And in stark contrast, you've got the heart of somewhere America, the Rust Belt. The city of Detroit lost over a quarter of its population in just 2 decades. That isn't just a number. It represents the hollowing out of an entire way of life built on manufacturing, a real crisis of identity and economy for somewhere America.
So, how did a cultural and geographic schism this deep completely reshape our politics? Well, it basically triggered one of the biggest party realignments in modern American history.
And the shift has been dramatic.
I mean, the Democratic Party, which used to be this coalition of the working class and intellectuals, is now dominated by the Anywheres group. Urban, educated professionals and minority voters. Meanwhile, the Republican Party has totally transformed from the party of country club elites into the main vehicle for a populist, nationalist, somewhere revolt.
And nothing shows this realignment more clearly than how people vote based on education. In 2020, Joe Biden won voters with a postgraduate degree by 28 points. At the same time, Donald Trump won voters with no college degree by 8 points. It's a complete inversion. Your education level, a key marker of being an anywhere or a somewhere, has become one of the single best predictors of how you're going to vote. But look, at the end of the day, this isn't just about data and maps. It's about how two groups of Americans can look at the very same country, at their neighbors, and at their future through completely different eyes. From the Anywhere point of view, they see themselves as the engine of progress and innovation. They get really frustrated by what they see as a resistance to science and a kind of backward-looking nostalgia. They believe in a diverse, open, forward-looking America that's leading the world into a high-tech future. But from the somewhere perspective, the feeling is one of profound disrespect and loss. They feel that the coastal elites shipped their jobs away. Now they mock their traditional values and just have contempt for their way of life. They see a country that has totally forgotten them, and they are fighting to get it back. And that leaves us with the central challenge facing this nation. When the two Americas are increasingly living in separate places, working in separate economies, and consuming completely separate media, can they still find a common story? Can a nation of anywheres and somewheres rediscover a shared identity that makes the country a somewhere for everyone? That is the question on which the future of the entire American experiment may depend.